Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's message. Today's message is the power of your story from Ephesians 2:10. For we're God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Today, I want to discuss something with you that's close to my heart. It's a more serious conversation, but it's necessary. And something amazing that happened to me, and I would like to share it. And it's a story of transformation. A while back, I told the story of the sexual assault that I endured and how God saved me when I wanted to leave this earth at 17 years old. I explained how I'd gone 38 years holding on to a secret that was covered up by those close to me and even in my own family. And as a young woman, that formed the way I would continue through life until I let go a couple months ago at 55 years old. Between the ages of 17 and 55, I had a lot of adverse things in my life. But today I want to name a few of them so you can understand this better. I didn't graduate when my high school class did because I was so distraught that I didn't make it to the ceremony. Instead, I was chatting with some therapist in a closed room. I later chose a husband who was emotionally, physically, and psychologically abusive. I chose love based on sex and what I saw as protection, which was disguised as control. I chose to associate with people who didn't care for me but saw me as an object. I chose people who were needy because I wanted to help them, and I had to learn that they were happily needy, which ended up being a waste of my time. But I chose them because I wanted to feel good about me, like I was worthy. I chose a second husband for love, and it ended in divorce because of betrayal on both of our parts. I chose another needy partner who chose to abandon me by choosing suicide. I've had a couple of partners since then and choosing not to marry again because I was afraid of it, because I felt abandoned by the ones that just didn't work out. I ruined one relationship myself by sabotaging it because of that feeling of abandonment, though he never actually abandoned me. And I've run into a few narcissists, a man who was an avoidant, and he loved me for about 30 days and then lied for the next 60 until I figured him out and ended the relationship. And I ran into one who just doesn't know how to love himself and couldn't possibly love me. Now, there's one common theme here, which is why I'm telling you all this today. The theme is abandonment by family, friends, lovers, and even myself. And because that one act changed my life, I made some bad choices, unknowingly in many of the cases. And it wasn't that I didn't know how to love. My heart had more than enough love to give than I could even explain. But I had to learn to love correctly and choose to abandon those abandonment wounds that I carried for so long. Now, you've been watching it unfold in real time on this platform, which was a hard decision to make in my life because we all know that hanging your laundry on the internet clothesline can be a bit treacherous. And people I thought were my friends are still gossiping about it, though I've realized they're not really my friends. And I've decided to share it all these years later as a means of not only healing myself, but potentially healing others through my platform. And I chose at 55 to become a grief coach, and I use my lessons for good and not evil. And I've chosen to change my career and go back to school. And at 55, I chose me for the first time in my life. And it seems weird, right? Choosing me at 55 years old to do all the things I always wanted to do before. Well, here I am. Now, not too long ago, a woman asked to speak to me. She's in her late 80s. She said, I want to tell you something. I have a similar story to yours, and I've hidden it for nearly 80 years. And as I listened to her, my heart broke. We prayed together, and she chose God instead of choosing pain. And she since told me how she listens to me every day. Since then, she's picked up her Bible. Now, I'm not telling you this for any credit. It all goes to God. This isn't my doing, but His will for my life and for hers. But I will tell you every day that it's for Him. And I want you to know how powerful words can be and really what your story is all about. Why you're not so randomly here. and that there is no coincidence in life. You see, my story has created tangible change, and it allowed someone to let go of something that was killing them inside for so long. This one act of her coming forward showed me that what I'm doing is the correct path, even if I can't tangibly see it. But in a way, it's helping me to save many others who felt like they didn't have a voice. And I was the first person she'd ever talked to about her story. Imagine that. I mean, just sit with it for a second. I can't tell you how much healing occurred for me at that very moment, but I sure felt God's hand in it. And I know she did too. Because we realized we weren't alone, even though somehow we already knew it. And when she left, my heart was sad, but it was full. It's really hard to explain. But I found another way to love that day. I found a way to choose to expand and grow my platform. And I found healing in a different kind of way. I found purpose in my pain. And well, friends, that's a mighty thing. So here's all that amazingness I told you about at the beginning. The reason for this discussion today is that I've spent a good part of the last 8 years posting about suicide prevention, about love and self-preservation. And, Facebook so gently reminds me of my memories. It sends me daily, a year ago today, 8 years ago today. And I've come to realize that all this time, I was already preparing for what's happening now without knowing. God was preparing me in ways that I couldn't understand. But I understand now. I finally got it. My struggle was a means for trial and tribulation. My lessons in life are somehow saving those who didn't feel like they had a voice. And my voice is showing people the way to God. And God is taking people in simply because they're finding love in what I say. Now, I can barely fathom it right now, but I'm finally understanding the power and strength that God has given me. And I'm grateful beyond measure for the trust that He's given me and the perseverance to deliver myself and others straight to Him to be healed in many ways. And I want to tell you today not to be afraid, because God will show you the way. He'll be your light and make you a beacon to lead others. And if you have a story to tell, well, tell it. Stand up and tell others so that they can be healed too. You are not alone. Choose to trust and faith in God and that you're being led in the right direction. Choose to love and be loved. Choose forgiveness and choose the journey. Choose a better human life. Choose God and His unconditional love for you. Choose to use the power that He's given you and choose to lean on His strength. Because love saves you and it will save others. Because, my friends, God's love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to my divine mission and for helping me to keep my message alive. I'll see you next time.